crowd, Republican or Democrat, will be held accountable for anything they do. For crying out loud, Congress itself appropriated hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay hush money to people that they were actively sexually assaulting. And we know that because they admitted it. So if we think that somehow now that they're looking for justice, I don't see any evidence to that at all. And this is Republicans and Democrats. And my issue here is it does not center on the person of Trump. It centers on what our government is doing and has been doing and their patterns so far. Now, I would love to be wrong. I'd love nothing more to be wrong. Maybe I am wrong. It's fine. Maybe I'm full of it. Maybe I'm just a mumbling loser and a know nothing, and that's fine. But if somehow prosecutions actually do happen, exactly. Hey, Valerie, good to see you on Facebook. Exactly. There were no new arrests. There were no prosecutions. That's exactly what I'm saying. And even if there was an arrest, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter unless there's a conviction at this point, unless somebody's sitting in a cell. It doesn't matter. This is all theater. It's for other purposes. I believe it is to accomplish certain things, but I don't think it has much to do with justice over this particular issue. Oh, okay, guys. I have a little bit more on this.
Was it the same thing as last time? Instead of driving 40 minutes to find out, she ordered the test to her door and did it at home. She had real answers before the week was out. No waiting room, no half day gone. 360phi.com. Real answers from home.
He had a good business, solid product, good people. He just couldn't figure out why growth had stalled. Sherlock found the buyers he didn't know were looking. Now he knows exactly where to go next. Learn more at investinanswers.com.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Most growing businesses are making 7-figure decisions on gut feel and assumptions. The biggest companies in the world don't operate that way. Neither should you. Sherlock gives you market intelligence they pay 6 figures for. We find your buyers before your competitors do. Visit investinanswers.com to learn more.
But I'm going to stop here because that was like an 18-minute monologue, and I apologize for making you sit there. But honestly, unless we're going to have people in prison cells paying for it. You know what? How about this? We don't even have to put them in prison. I have an idea. How about this? Let's take everybody who's a suspect. We'll prosecute them. Okay, we'll have the fair trial, and then we'll take all the guilty people and we'll buy them an all-you-can-eat buffet at Taco Bell. Okay, at least there will be some kind of consequence. All right, that will be lasting. And they will be sitting alone in a room for a long, long time. At least we will have that, if nothing else. All right, you guys talk for a while. Gosh.
I'll just start by saying that we're at the point now that we just have to recognize the fact that, what you see is the evidence. I mean, in forensics, we talk about when you're seeing points of evidence that leads you to a conclusion, we can't conclude otherwise. Okay, RC and I were so politically involved once upon a time, and we actually started backing away going, whoa, this is like really negative. There's a lot of criminality stuff going on over here. We didn't want a part of what we were seeing. And we said, we retracted and went and said, you know what? We need to be looking at Watchmen Action, only talk about Watchmen Action, and telling the Watchmen that you see this. I mean, everything that you said, Andrew, was completely spot on, 100% spot on. I don't even have anything to add to that. Right. But we're saying, hey, Watchmen, you see exactly what we're seeing. How are we getting together and saying we're not going to deal with this anymore?
Exactly. And nothing that I said, all I did was I just recounted what we've lived through for the past 6 to 8 years.
Exactly.
And that's only that small microcosm of time. And in that small microcosm of time, we've now seen the pattern up front and in person. I'm sure, obviously, clearly it was going on prior to that. We just didn't know enough about what we didn't know. But now they're doing it right in front of our faces. And for President Trump to come out and make this speech, if people are not held accountable, what is it then? Hey, look at all these guilty people. We're going to do nothing about it. What are you going to do?
Andrew, so you got a couple of things in there. You got the trust the plan in there. You got the 2 more weeks. You got all that in. But here's what you guys missed. And I'm doing this for the audience too, because I'm going to tell you why you didn't see the stuff that you're saying that you didn't see. It is simply because you did not go to Real Raw News and get the EBS feed of Trump's speech. Now, I'm saying that for a bit of levity. People were online yesterday talking about, this is going to be the activation of the EBS system. The EBS system died years ago. Coming from a broadcaster, is now the EAS system. So let's stop that foolishness, right? And Real Raw News is a satire site, right? Nobody's in Gitmo or anything like that. Okay. That said, Andrew, I think that the way that you walk people through, and I encourage people, if you're watching this after the fact, make sure you go back and listen to Andrew's monologue, because you broke down the entire core of the frustration for Americans who want to agree with President Trump, right? And great, maybe whatever is going on in Fort Pierce with the grand jury, this was timed in some way. It is not an excuse, though, for the 6 years of having it and not dropping the hammer and showing people that justice is truly blind. And if you do bad things will happen to you. There is a consequence for doing those things. Andrew, we talked about it earlier this week on the Spin Cycle. You asked me, can Democrats take Trump's finances and leverage something like that in the midterms? And my response to you was, yes, but here's what's interesting. We're also one bad event away from the midterms being completely upside down. And now what do you see? You see that China has interfered, and I think they probably continue to interfere, along with any other country that has a vested interest in our instability. They're still doing it, right? But it also gives cover, like you said, for other stuff that's going on. Now you have the cover to go in and justify the Save America Act, which includes the Real ID, which is a crackdown on freedoms, right? It's much easier for you to say, well, look, we need to do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this, and maybe we should hold off, or maybe we should do all of these things. Now it's been justified in the minds of people who really haven't been paying attention. And that scares me, because one of the things we talk about here on Culture Crossroads and on the Watchmen Brief and in everything we write and everything we do is the importance of vigilance. And when you don't have it and you're not willing to work, how your freedoms are chipped away at. Dovetailing back in, and then I will stop, is this speech last night is this microcosm of, hey, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to drop it, here's the facts, kind of like you're going to do a bunch of executive orders, but you're not going to codify anything into law, which means you basically allow the other side, when the tide turns, to weaponize all of these things against you or take away any power that you had. I honestly believe, Andrew, if we are not living in the movie Idiocracy, we have to be at the front door. There are just some days where I have a hard time with this. And so was the information important? Sure. But what's more important is what you actually do with it and what you do about all the stuff that you were shoveling.
Our friend Valerie Wirtz notes, she was watching on Facebook, stop the distractions. It feels like we're constantly being reminded that there are bad actors somewhere else, while we're told to settle for the lesser of two evils. The American people deserve better than endless talking points and political theater. We deserve truth, transparency, and accountability applied equally, no matter the party or the person. Enough with the distractions, show the results. the message last night was, hey, we know that you know that we know that you know, and hey, they and maybe they realized Israel passed off base, so they got to reel them back in. And Valerie, thank you for the comments. But it is true. Yeah, they know that we know, and they don't care. And again, if I hope that we're on here in a week or two doing a great mea culpa for this episode, and we're talking about the prosecutions that have come from this giant document dump, so to speak. All right, but and there are damning parts of this document dump, but you're exactly right. You know where a lot of the frustration from the right comes from is the fact that we actually want to support what President Trump and the administration is doing. The Republican Party is the national representative for conservatives, and because they have not represented conservative interests, at least in the minds of many on the right, including myself, it is endlessly frustrating, and it certainly makes Trump 2.0 look like, if it's not just a vanity project so Trump can put up statues of himself and rename things after himself, then it's really a giant grift so that those who have access and who have the timing in the stock market can make as much money as possible on all these fronts, from pharma to tech to war to solar and energy and everything else. Take them while you got them, because this train ain't going to stay on the tracks very long, and we're going to have to move into some other, I don't know, digital currency of some kind. But it's frustrating because we want to be like, yeah, this is it. And I want to be able to do that. And I really wanted to come away from last night's speech with something concrete that, like, okay, you know what, there's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, maybe there is a quote unquote trust the plan. I don't see a plan. I don't see one that's been articulated. I don't see a plan about Iran. I don't see a plan about the economy. And when you have people, many of us struggling from paycheck to paycheck, not making it from paycheck to paycheck. In fact, we're going from credit card to credit card just to buy groceries, just to buy gas. Meanwhile, we're told by our commander-in-chief that this is the golden age and the economy has never been better. We look at that and say, what? Really? And then, if nothing else, hold evil people accountable, and you refuse to do that, which leaves us then really an option to say, well, there must be a reason you're not holding them accountable. What could that be? Could it be the fact maybe that there's too many people in on this, and if you start holding people accountable and start tugging that thread, your house of cards comes down?
So we always talk about self-interest, don't we? Right? It's all about what's my pocket needing at the moment. I'll keep the charade up. In parenting, we talk about redirecting the children. When they get really upset, you redirect their attention to something else. And what Trump did last night was trying to redirect us to look at something else. And the fact of the matter is that we're saying, hey, Trump, we see exactly what's going on. Why are you not addressing? Oh, that's right. The criminals are not going to prosecute themselves. The criminals are not going to stop themselves. They're not going to stop their gravy train. Come on. We see what's going on here. At some point, we just need to take a stand and say, from this moment and from this understanding, what they're doing, we see very clearly, because Father tells us.
Was it the same thing as last time? Instead of driving 40 minutes to find out, she ordered the test to her door and did it at home. She had real answers before the week was out. No waiting room, no half-day gone. 360phi.com. Real answers from home.
He had a good night. And then, a morning thought he couldn't shake. Opened his phone, answered some questions, had a provider review it. Whatever he was worried about, he handled it. No office, no awkward waiting room, just done. 360phi.com. Your phone.
We will know them by their fruits. And I was reading Ezekiel 33 this morning, and it says 33:8, admonish the wicked of his way. Okay, this is what we're looking at. Is we're looking at wickedness, and the church needs to stand up. The good people need to stand up and say, we're not going to tolerate this wickedness in our country. You know, who was it that said that when we see a treasonous government, it's our responsibility to take care of that government? We are the first line of government. We, the people, are the first line of government. It is our responsibility to make sure that our country is saved. What are we doing about it?
It should tell us a lot that if we are a nation of government by consent of the governed, and we the people really are the government, it should tell us a lot that it is the government who demands our financial records every year, not us demanding theirs.
That's right.
It should tell us a lot that the flock cameras are pointed at our homes and our cars and not their offices and their dark, smoky back rooms.
That's right.
And until we start demanding that kind of transparency, say no. The other thing I did hear, RC, I don't mean to, I know you got something. Don't lose your thought.
You're good. You're good.
I listened to an interview yesterday. It was on Dr. Drew Pinsky's podcast, and he had an author on, the author of a book called Run Right, and I forget his name, but it's called Run Right, and he's a political strategist, and you know, if people are wanting to run for office, he helps them. Okay, well, where's the best way to do that? And they were talking about political and electoral strategy for conservatives and how we can win more effectively. And of course, he said, well, it's going to start local. Pick races you can win, even if you got a swing, so you can win those over, because eventually that boils up to, city and statewide level, and that's going to boil into the federal level. It's a long-term plan, but it is what it is. And one of the things he said, though, is that, it's funny, no matter what, you can talk to a Democrat and a Republican, you can talk to a liberal and a conservative, or even a progressive and a conservative, and they may agree on a number of hot button things. They may agree that our government doesn't hold each other accountable and lets criminals walk free because they have access and money, or because they have influence, or because they need them for some kind of reason. They may agree that they don't want flock cameras and mass national surveillance. They may agree that we're not really sure what the point of the Iran war is, but if we're gonna be there, let's win, okay? And let's do it quickly. Let's not just sit mired there, and let for the love of Pete, let's not go 60 days and then another memorandum of understanding and then another 60 days so that we can get around the Constitution because we're afraid to take our case to Congress or to the American people. We might agree on all of that, but when we come to when we come to the ballot box, I wish it was the batter's box. When we come to the ballot box, we just vote for one letter of the alphabet or another. And it doesn't matter the person next to that letter. It's an R or a D. And that's why we can say all these things, but it doesn't change unless we will actually look at the name next to that letter and stop voting under this a cult of party personality and vote for the best person. And if the best person is not there, then we should write them in. And by the way, there was another pundit, a very well-known pundit, and again, somebody that I do respect. I haven't agreed with him much over the past a year and a half or so on some things as much as I did prior, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. His platform's a lot bigger than mine, so he's got a lot more influence than I would. But he said, that Trump really is the king of the Republican Party. And if you're looking at 2028, Trump's going to be the one to tell you who is going to be the Republican nominee for president, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to tell you, he's probably right. And that's unfortunate because we are, and again, it's the Republicans doing it. We are rendering we the people useless by ending around the Constitution, by disrupting and making primaries nonsensical, by not holding people accountable, thereby dissuading and discouraging your own base, and then turning around and telling them that, hey, we're in a golden age, and if you don't like it, well, we don't need your vote anyway. Eventually, you're going to get your wish. And I don't know what that looks like. We are in a messy kind of realignment right now, and I don't think anybody really knows in election cycle, 2 election cycles, 3 election cycles, what kind of coalition that brings. But I mean, my goodness, unless we take our blinders off and actually vote for something instead of just, well, whatever. I'm liberal, so I must vote for a Democrat, or I'm conservative, I must vote for a Republican. We all know they're going the same direction. So how about we vote for America instead?
Andrew, so let me do this. I'll do this straight into the camera because I think this is important, and I hope somebody clips this and takes it. Mr. President, while we appreciate the information that you presented last night, in future correspondence, please respond accordingly when the prevailing narrative will be X, Y, and Z persons have officially been arrested and are being indicted or charged with the following crimes, which will carry the following terms upon a guilty conviction. Thank you for your attention to this matter, the American people.
Amen. I think that's a great place to land the plane here, friends. We can go on, but eventually we start talking in circles. But it did deserve being examined and pointed out, because we, the people, should demand better. I'm not going to say we deserve better, because deserve is kind of it's a little bit of an entitled thing. But if we want a better country, we need to demand better. If we're not going to demand better, then we certainly don't deserve better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, RC, nail on the head. Next time, come out with a list of who's indicted and what they're being charged with and what penalties they could have. That's a press conference I want to see. You do that, maybe we're back on the right track. Okay, remember, you can find our show, Culture Crossroads, every Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time, BeckTV.plus, BEKTV.plus, BEKTV.plus, and it's also on demand, Beck TV Plus app, as well as on the Epic cable company on the Watchmen Action Network, and also Watchmen Brief airs as well. You'll see RC and Juliana on that program, and Spin Cycle airs over there as well, in addition to all of our social medias. And if you are watching on a social media channel today, whether Watchmen Action or a Culture Crossroads or an Andrew Southwick, if you haven't subscribed to our page, please do so. Like the video, help the channels grow, help us grow, because we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't actually believe in it. You notice we're independent. We are not subject to the narratives. We are not subject to the talking points that get released every morning, and they do get released every morning. I know that firsthand. We call the balls and strikes like we see, and we want to point people to the truth. You can do as you want with that. But if you would like the page, subscribe to the pages, we'd appreciate it. All right. Gosh, it's weekend time. It's weekend time. I wonder what's going to happen. The government's going to shut down. What will we do? We'll be just fine, and hopefully so will you. We'll see you again on the Spin Cycle on Monday. Guys, what time are we going to do it on Monday? I have no idea.
12:45.
12:45. We're going to keep that going. All right, 12:45 on Monday, and again, 5 p.m. Central Time, Culture Crossroads. We're breaking down the U.S. and Iran, their military merger, what that could mean. We also, if you haven't seen all of our spin cycles, we've got a spin cycle that we are playing on the program there. And then there is a faith focus that almost exactly mirrors an Old Testament story. And it's a very famous one. So even people casually familiar with Bible stories, it's incredible. And not only that, but it's happening here in America. So that's a big show, 5 p.m. Central on Sunday. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. And we'll see you then.
RC Williams and Juliana Ormond, they are a husband and wife team, and they are co-founders of Watchmen Action, a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to equipping the church to engage the culture by empowering people to build advocacy plans to tackle the core issues that matter to them the most. The organization has grown out of the co-founder's success with their research and behavioral marketing firm, Sherloc. That success led to the launch of their 2 publications, Ripped from the Headlines, which breaks down what the news means, and We Are the Watchmen Weekly, which connects the dots between current events and Scripture. They are authors of the book Empowered, the number 2 Act. If you haven't read that, you definitely need to. It's Maintaining the Pillars of Patriotism. And if you want more information on them, you can find that at watchmenaction.org. Do me a favor and put your hands together. Welcome R.C. Williams and Juliana Ormond to the stage.
Hi, everyone.
Hey guys, long time no see. Apparently I scared a fair number of you. And I apologize for that. It wasn't me, it was the content. That's what Bev told me. So I'm going to stick with that. So guys, this panel is exciting. You know, what we thought we would do is get great minds together in an attempt to craft some hypothetical language that could be used to get something into law. And so we lucked out with the panel that we've got. We've got incredible experience and some great opinions from the group on the panel. So guys, we want to give you 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Doug, we'll start with you down at the end and we'll work our way there.
All right, thank you. My name is Doug Bankson, and I am a state representative for District 39, which is Orange County, part of Seminole. But I'm actually a pastor. That's my high call. But we're all called to serve. And so it's just very interesting being in both of these lanes. I'm a husband, father, and grandfather of 5. That's kind of my favorite right there. I'm a pilot as well. But I'm very excited that, to me, I don't see problems. I see opportunities. Man, do we have opportunities. You know, we need to understand the enemy is not people. It's the one who Jesus defeated at Calvary. And we need to understand he is bringing forth his ideas and trying to influence people. And so we need to make a strong stand. I'm excited to be here and privileged to be with these others.
Most growing businesses are making 7-figure decisions on gut feel and assumptions. The biggest companies in the world don't operate that way. Neither should you. Sherloc gives you market intelligence they pay 6 figures for. We find your buyers before your competitors do. Visit investinanswers.com to learn more. Most of us have something we have been quietly managing, hoping it resolves, telling ourselves we will deal with it next week. Board-certified providers are available today from your home. Private, thorough, and licensed in your state. Stop putting it off. 360phi.com.
He had a good night. And then, a morning thought he couldn't shake. Opened his phone, answered some questions, had a provider review it. Whatever he was worried about, he handled it. No office, no awkward waiting room, just done. 360phi.com. Your phone, your business.
Excellent. My name is Justin Sharpless. I am the Vice Chair of the Polk County School Board. Oh, I got a round of applause. I feel good. First, I want to say welcome to the church that I attend, High Point Church. I hope you felt welcomed here, and I hope you feel at home. Thank you for all the organizations here for using this church as a light. We truly want to be a community church, not just a church in the community. Having said that, I am the husband of a middle school teacher. I'm currently a college professor. I've been that for 10 years at Warner University, which is a liberal arts Christian university here in Lake Wales. And so I truly believe that in education and even at the college level, we are helping to influence society. And so I'm very thankful that I teach at a conservative Christian university. Also, the reason that I ran for school board, I have 3 boys. There's a lot of testosterone in my house. I have an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And making an education system for them is something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. In fact, I can remember the day that I was sitting in church with a relatively young newborn child that's now 8. And my pastor, Pastor Jack, who was up here earlier, challenged us. He said, you know, as a church, we can't just draw away from society. Someone's going to drive the culture, and we need to be a part of that. And so the Holy Spirit convicted me to run, and I was elected in 22 to our county school board, and I've truly enjoyed that. And yeah, I've actually filed for re-election in 26, so I want to put that plug in there too.
All right.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm just being obedient to what the Lord has called me to do. So thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi, yeah. So my name's Jan Edwards, and I'm the president of Paving the Way Foundation, and we do human trafficking awareness and prevention education specifically for young people. And I want you to note I'm the only woman up here that's also not an elected official. So although I do a lot of advocating, so we do a lot of work at the state level and up in DC because we're with kids every single week. We've educated over 42,000 young people and parents in the past 9 years, in person, in small groups. So yeah, so we have a lot of conversations, all right? And we have, so I bring the perspective of the people we're trying to protect. Is every single day our kids tell us what they're up against. Every day they're targeted by bots, by predators, trying to lure them into a life that no one would choose. And policy is one of the few ways we can actually alter that the other way. And I loved what Mary said. If you follow me on Facebook, I say it a lot. We are the we the people part of the Constitution. If we're a citizen, it is our duty to tell our elected officials how we feel about things and why it's important to us. And if they don't hear from all sides, they can't make the best decisions and the best choices. And I was at a conference last night, and I was sharing this with former Speaker Renner, possible future governor. We'll see, right? Whatever God says, this is what's going to happen. Is we had a piece of legislation last year that would make buying a person a felony. And a senator looked at my friend Alan Welkett in the face and said, not one constituent has called me and told me that's important to them. That's the importance of you. That's why this is important. You have a duty to our country, to your city, to your neighborhood, to when you leave here, take a real live action and let people know why this is important to you, why we've got to veer the AI train to another track so we can do some other stuff with it, because it's our future that they're building. And if we don't have a say in it, it's not going to go how we know it needs to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Speaker Renner.
Well, it's great to be here with you, and my most important role is as a husband and father of a 5-year-old daughter, Abigail, and a 3-year-old son, William. And started in public service. Well, my dad was a minister, mom was a school teacher, but started in public service at age 23 during Operation Desert Storm, 20 years in the military, 2 wars, former state attorney, and as was mentioned, former Speaker of the House. Not this last year when they were fighting, but all the good conservative stuff we did 2 years prior. And so it's great to be here with you to talk about a very, very important topic. And I'll just, as a preface to some of the questions, say that we cleared out a lot of things in 2023 in that session that one group called the Session of the Century. And I thought, what are we going to do next? And I would have told you then that kids are online too much, but what's the big deal? And some members provided me with some reading materials, and I got through them. It was difficult to get through them, with kids taking their own lives, not knowing what reality they were in, whether it was a video game or real life, and realized that one of the last things we did together with Representative Banks and others is to protect children online. We had a bill that combined protections against online pornography, but also one that protected them against social media and these algorithms that are there surveilling your child and knowing more about them than you as a parent know about them. AI is going to take that to an order of magnitude higher than where we are today. And so look, I think most people in this room would agree that Western civilization is at stake. We're in a battle that's not only it first and foremost is a spiritual battle, and that what we see with Charlie Kirk and the shootings is the lack of an anchor in the storms of life, and that anchor for me is Jesus Christ. So you combine that lack of an anchor with social media that takes our children to a deep, dark place, and the algorithms have no moral compass. And so the other thing I'll say that was alluded to in the original panel is the biggest distinction, it was referred to as a mind, is there's one thing that we have that the beast of the animals don't have. What is that? It's a soul, it's a spirit. AI does not have a spirit. We are eternal spirits. We are fleshly beings. We're mortal beings. Our physical bodies go away. Our spirits never go away. So I think the key thing before we get started is to think about AI in that context. I don't know that you can ever, to answer the question that was posed earlier, have an AI that can, bring you to Jesus, because there's no spirit there. It is a soulless piece of technology. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't be used for good and medical diagnoses, and there's things that it can do that are very powerful, and I'm not going to be on the stage to tell you that we're going to stop that technology or that it doesn't do some miraculous things for us. But especially with respect to our children, their brains are not in a position where they can step back from that harm, and we really need to step in very quickly to protect them. So I look forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Speaker Renner. Another round of applause for our panelists, please. As we get started here, we do welcome your questions. This is a working session, so we do welcome your questions. We're going to try to piece together as much as we can. My understanding is we can't get the writing on the screen in real time, but since this is being recorded, all of the notes will be collected, and whatever we come up with and you come up with will be made available. So let's go ahead and get started. Justin, I'd like to come to you first. Home game for you. Congratulations. So you sit at the district level. As Mary Flynn O'Neill mentioned in the first panel, all politics are ultimately local. What do you think has to be in a potential Florida statute so that school boards can adopt this type of policy without outsourcing value? So what is it going to take if something is done at the state level for you guys to easily implement it at the district level or the county level?
Well, I would first say, in 2022, I ran on a strong parental rights movement. You saw that with the governor getting involved with many races around the state. And so I think, number one, we have to, where applicable, keep local governance in there, because parents are the ones that are electing school board members, right? And making sure that there's a parental rights component in this legislation. School boards set the purpose of AI in that district. Also the limits of AI, which is really important. And then also with that parental rights, we need to have an opt-out system for certain. So where if a parent, no matter what piece of technology it is, but especially like you said with AI, if a parent doesn't feel comfortable with their kids and being involved in that, there needs to be an